Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm going to walk you through how to theme your roller coaster, step by step in 5 key areas that matter the most. These are the core pillars of building a truly immersive coaster experience. The coaster layout itself, the entrance, the queue, the station, and the exit path. Now, even though we've broken everything down into these 5 neat subjects, you might notice me jumping a little back and forth throughout the build. And that's honestly just how I work. Sometimes I need to build part of the exit or station before I can figure out how the queue will connect. Or I might start placing props at the entrance, then jump over to the back to see how everything balances out. It's all about composition. Getting that perfect balance between the areas so it doesn't feel like 5 disconnected zones, but one cohesive ride experience. But even with that creative bounce around, these 5 subjects are still the best structure to follow when you want to theme your roller coasters properly. Alright, let's dive into the first part. Let's kick this off with the most important part, the coaster itself. I'm working on a family-friendly GCI wooden coaster, something like Troy at Toverland or Woden at Europa Park. Both with a scale that works for everyone 8 and up. It's all about making it exciting but approachable, a ride that gives you butterflies, not back pains. So here's the thing, build compact. Don't sprawl your layout all over the map, unless you're going for realism on a mega scale. But for themed coasters in your park, compact layouts are just smarter. They make the ride more intense and keep your theming tighter and more cohesive. You can surround it with jungle temples, foliage, supports, and props without spending hours trying to make sense of huge open gaps. And then the close calls. These are those near-miss moments where it looks like you're going to fly right into a beam or duck under another part of the track. Add a few of these and you instantly boost the excitement factor. Even a simple head chopper moment or duck through tunnel adds this little anxiety spike, and guests love that thrill. Now, something super important, smoothing and banking. A lot of people forget this part. When you're twisting and turning, especially on a wooden coaster, the banking needs to be just right. Too sharp and it's janky, too flat and you lose the thrill. Take time to smooth your banking so the transitions feel natural, especially in tighter elements. It really does make or break the ride. And I get it. People love chasing perfect test ratings, but listen, you don't need to max out all the stats. Just make sure none of them are in red. That's the one thing that will stop guests from riding. If intensity or nausea tips into red, no amount of epic theming will save you. So run your tests, make your adjustments, and don't overthink the rest. I am not a pro coaster builder. I've built some, sure, and I've ridden tons in real life. But I build what feels fun. And for me, that's tight layouts, those juicy near misses, and good ride flow. I just want guests to go, whoa, that was cool, and run straight back in line again. And if they do that, well, you did a good job. Now let's talk about the entrance. One of the most important pieces of your coaster experience. This is the first thing guests see before they even step into the queue, so it has to sell the story right away. For mine, I went with something a little unexpected. I used the Viking stone pieces and Viking style windows. You wouldn't think that screams jungle, but when you mix those up with the right texture, it totally works. I added in foliage, some decals, like mossy details, cracks, and then ivy crawling over everything. The idea here is that this structure used to be part of some forgotten, ancient outpost, maybe even a sacred site or a lookout tower, that's been overtaken by the jungle over centuries. It gives the vibe of being half lost in time, and that mystery gets people excited. It's got a strong silhouette too. The shape of it should instantly tell you you're leaving the normal world behind. Add some carved details. Maybe a few themed props or a weathered banner or totem, and boom, you're creating something that looks like it belongs in a real theme park. And you know what? Sometimes these pieces, like the Viking set, are made for something completely different. That's what makes it fun. And who cares? If it fits the vibe, it fits the vibe. Don't overthink it. Theme parks do this all the time, reusing architecture to create something new. It's not about historical accuracy, it's about immersion. And trust me, once you see that jungle gateway wrapped in ivy, glowing in the evening lights, it just feels right. For the entrance, as I'm making here, I decided to go with the title Totem. a sacrificial tribute to lost warriors within the Mystic Isles vibe. It set the tone right away. To add even more of that eerie jungle cold atmosphere, I hung some small wicker looking shapes at the entrance. It gives off this haunting, slightly off energy, like something mysterious is happening deep inside the jungle. It's not just pretty, it tells a story. For the exit, I didn't want to just slap down a generic path. I built a bridge that crosses over the coaster track, so guests can get one final awesome view of the ride from above as they head out. It's one of those little moments where people can stop, take pictures, and soak in the theming one last time. I decided to go with a bit of a jungle cruise vibe, so to speak, especially when it comes to color schemes and that classic expedition aesthetics. That's tower that divides the exit path, and I gotta say, it really adds some depth and balance to the build. It's that kind of vertical break that makes your layout feel like it has layers, not just flat sprawls. So as you see me build here, I'm paying a lot of attention to texture matching, using corrugated roofing, ivy, and some carefully placed trim details to tie everything together visually. And that's really the magic, when your exit path feels like an extension of the story, not just the end of it. It should lead out of the station, across the bridge, and into the wider world of your park, but always immersed in the same visual and narrative tone. I've seen so many parks where the ride ends and then suddenly, bam, you're just dumped on some boring path. Don't let that happen. This is your last chance to leave an impression, so use it. Even if it's just a themed bridge or a lookout tower or a few jungle props, add that last sprinkle of detail. People remember that stuff. The bridge integrates perfectly into the theming. Woodwork, rope railings, vines, a few torches hanging. Below the coaster roars past, weaving through ruins and foliage. It all still feels like part of the jungle, not just a bland walkway. Exits are underrated, honestly. It's the last thing people experience before heading to the next ride, and if it's themed right, it leaves a final impression. Even if the queue was long, they'll remember that bridge moment, the sounds, the views, all of it. And yeah, I'm just going back into this bridge again, detailing it up with all the bits and bobs. We're talking netting, support pillars, wicker patterns, wood trims, really keeping that green jungle expedition vibe going strong. Like, it's not just a walkway, it's part of the experience. It's just meant to feel like you're crossing through something forgotten, something sacred on your way back into the rest of the park. Figuring out how to combine this with the station, that was a tough cookie. I had to try a few different layouts and textures before it finally started to click. But once it did, oh man, it started to really sing. I even tucked in a little bit of clutter inside the bridge crossway just to give it some movement and life. Stuff like barrels and crates, you know, like explorers left it behind or something. And now that it's all coming together, you can really feel it. It's one cohesive environment. You exit the ride, walk across the immersive little bridge, and you're not yanked out of the story. You're still in it. Now let's head into the station. For this one, I imagined something that's part trading post, part expedition, but also half consumed by the jungle. It has a bit of tribal and mystic touch. Maybe like a forgotten ancient temple that's been converted into, as I said, a trading post or a base camp by explorers. I went for a mix of thatch roofing for this little guy on the left side here, and used a lot of corrugated metal. Kind of like something you see in a tropical outpost. There are hanging branches, wicker baskets, some weathered wood textures. I didn't want the station to feel too clean. It's supposed to look old, a little messy, like it's been around for decades and repurposed. So I'm adding props, clutter. Alright, moving into the queue. This is where you want to build that anticipation. The idea is you're walking through overgrown jungle, temple ruins, old crumbling archways, and maybe even some explorer camps along the way. The queue I made goes from ground level and gently rises up with stairs towards the station. It gives a chance to build layers, both in elevation and theming. You can add covered section, props like broken totems, as I've done here, some hanging lamps, fence it all in nicely, some storytelling signs, even some jungle outpost, crates, all that stuff. The possibilities are endless, it all depending on how long you are making your queue. And of course, foliage. Jungle foliage is a cheat code here. It makes everything feel more immersive and more alive. I made sure there's some visual contact with the coaster too, spots where guests can catch a glimpse of the ride flying past them. That adds so much to the hype. or can you even hear the coaster going under you when you stand. I remember when I was standing underneath Woden and Troy for that matter, and you just hear the coaster flying by you above with the whole like wood cracking and all that stuff. It's really awesome. I want people to feel like they're about to step into a story and not just stand in a boring fence maze. So like mixing in little views of the ride really helps. Some do a vista point where you can take pictures before you even go on the coaster. Others have you go along the coaster all the way to the queue, all the way to the station where you can board the train. Everything else, it doesn't have to be fancy, just believable and immersive. Alright, here at the end before we wrap things up, I'm just doing the last little bits on the station, you know, the usual clutter. A couple of crates here and there, some barrels stacked off to the side, added some extra support beams, a little worn down torp, and of course, jungle foliage creeping over a few walls. It's all about those finishing touches, the stuff that ties everything together. Even if guest doesn't notice every single detail, it builds the atmosphere, it feels real. Next time we'll take it one step further. We'll start working on the lighting, you know, getting that perfect golden glow in the evening, especially under the canopy. And we'll also dive into customizing the coaster cars to actually match the whole theme of this forgotten jungle temple. Right now, it's just a wooden coaster with good bones, but we're going to turn it into a full story on rails. And you know how it is. Sometimes these last pieces come together after a bit of trial and error. You think something works, then step back and go, maybe not. But that's part of the fun. It's messy and chaotic at times, but when you finally zoom out and see the whole picture, man, it's worth it. And that's it. My 5 key points on how to theme your roller coasters in Planet Coaster 2. Whether it's a family wooden coaster like this one, or something more intense, these 5 areas, layout, entrance, queue, station, and exit, are the blueprint to creating a ride that feels like it belongs in a real theme park. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe for more tutorials. And hey, let me know in the comments what themes you're building or what coaster I should try next. Check out the POV right after this. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.